Donna was so exhausted that she even began mentally counting her steps to her home. The night shift had been particularly grueling because the previous evening, just outside the city, a major traffic accident had occurred involving a truck, an intercity bus, and several cars. Throughout the night, a steady stream of injured people were brought to their hospital almost until dawn. Most of the injuries were minor, but several patients were in critical condition. Donna had long grown accustomed to the demands of her job and did not complain about her fate. For nearly 15 years she had been saving lives, yet she never grew numb to the suffering of others. She felt the pain of her patients as her own. Linda, the senior nurse of the department, had repeatedly tried to influence her protégée. "Donna, you can't do this. You'll burn out quickly if you take everything to heart." But Donna could not help it, although she tried to change her attitude towards work. Fortunately, the predictions about burnout, which Linda insisted upon, did not come true, and this fact reassured the woman, for what she feared most in the world was growing cold and hard-hearted. Only upon entering her apartment building did Donna realize she had lost count. She had tried many times to calculate the distance in steps from her home to the bus stop, but she had not yet succeeded. The woman involuntarily thought she should borrow Patrick's pedometer and measure the distance some day. Here her thoughts shifted from work to domestic concerns. She imagined how surprised her husband would be when she asked to borrow the step counter. Every morning Patrick set his alarm for 6 and went for a run, rain or shine. He tried to involve his wife and son in his healthy lifestyle, but Donna viewed his efforts with irony. "Patrick, the neighbours will think we're crazy if we all go out for a run together." Paul also viewed his father's enthusiasm with scepticism. "Dad, I'm not like you. I'm weak-willed and love to sleep." If his father started lecturing him, the boy would solemnly recite, "Father, forgive your son for his laziness and dreams." From the outside it looked comical, but Patrick was offended by such antics. Paul had been attending a school theatre club for the past 2 years and was proud of his cultural achievements. However, Patrick considered this pursuit unworthy of a real man. Donna opened the door to her apartment and immediately tripped over her son's sneaker. In annoyance, she muttered, "Again! He's scattered his shoes all over the hallway. No matter what I say, he does what he wants." She put away her son's shoes in the closet and took off her coat. "That's it, Donna. Now you'll have some tea and go to bed." After a night shift, especially such a restless one, she needed to restore her strength, and the best way to do that was with a good night's sleep. The woman went to the kitchen, but found it in disarray. She felt like crying from helplessness. What kind of people am I living with? Is it so difficult to clean up after yourself? Just you wait. I'll give you a piece of my mind tonight. Her mood was on the verge of breaking, and Donna began angrily throwing cups and plates into the sink. This was accompanied by clattering and her short remarks addressed to the 2 slobs who could only consume and make a mess, but were incapable of cleaning up after themselves. The kitchen floor also bore traces of the morning meal. She had to grab a broom and dustpan. When Donna swept the crumbs and candy wrappers into the trash, she noticed a crumpled notebook page at the bottom of the bin. At first she didn't think much of it, assuming probably Paul threw it away. He was doing his homework, made mistakes and tore out the page. Donna headed to the bedroom, but something made her return to the kitchen. Carefully, using 2 fingers, she retrieved the crumpled paper from the trash and unfolded it. She knew her son's handwriting, but this message was not written by Paul. Forgetting caution, Donna smoothed out the paper and began to read slowly. "I apologize for bothering you. I wouldn't have turned to you, and Mama didn't let me do it before. If it weren't for the trouble she's in. Mama doesn't tell me anything, but I overheard her talking to her friend that her illness is severe. I don't want my mamma to die because she's all I have. Please help my mamma, Patrick. This disease they found can be treated, but the treatment costs a lot of money and we don't have it. And so I thought you might be able to lend us at least a little. I will finish school soon, start working, and I will definitely pay you back every penny, I swear. Below, the message was also neatly written, Amber Raskin. A relative, perhaps? But I know all of Patrick's relatives by heart, but there is no Amber among them. It's also strange, and where is the address? Donna emptied the bin onto the floor. A crumpled envelope, similar to the letter, ended up on top of the trash pile. The woman carefully placed both finds in a bag and thoughtfully said, I don't like any of this. Why didn't Patrick say anything about this letter? Shall I just ask Patrick, instead of racking my brain? Or shall I conduct a little investigation myself? She thought. Making the right decision was interrupted by an insistent ring at the door. The woman quickly hid the plastic bag with the evidence and desperately said, Oh, it must be my dear mother-in-law. Why on earth did she come here so early? The doorbell rang again, and Donna, cursing her fate and her impudent mother-in-law, headed to the hallway. Helen didn't enter. She fluttered in and, forgetting that the first thing to do was to greet her daughter-in-law, she immediately proceeded to the main part of her speech. How fortunate that I caught you at home. Aren't you working today? Donna understood that her plans to sleep were entirely ruined, but the rules of propriety forced her to smile and be polite to her mother-in-law. Come in, please. I just got back from the night shift. I'm dead tired, and I was going to get some sleep. You can sleep later. I won't be long. The obvious hint that she had come in at an inconvenient time did not embarrass Donna's mother-in-law at all. She looked possessively around the hallway, then trotted uninvited into the kitchen, but stopped on the threshold. Why is there such a mess here? Donna looked at the pile of trash she had left and felt embarrassed. I lost an earring. I thought I threw it out with the trash into the bin. Helen asked sarcastically. Did you find it? The daughter-in-law did not understand. What? The mother-in-law gave her another caustic look and said, Your earring. It looks like both are still in your ears. Donna instinctively grabbed her ear. She realized that her mother-in-law did not believe the story about the earring and, in a lost voice, replied, Yes, luckily I've already found it. The mother-in-law shook her head. I see. You dress for work like it's a party. Caught in a lie, the daughter-in-law felt awkward. She bustled around the guest. Please sit down, Helen. I'll put the kettle on. Would you like some tea? The guest let out a meaningful sigh. First, clean up the trash and wash your hands with soap. You're a medic. You should understand that poor sanitation contributes to the spread of infection. Personally, I try not to touch suspicious objects, and after the store, I always wash my hands first and then treat them with antiseptic. I advise you to do the same for prevention purposes. Like many women her age, Helen loved to talk about medicine and culture. Despite a complete lack of relevant education, she considered herself an expert in these two fields. She gathered information from the internet and then spread it among her friends and acquaintances. She had also tried to impose her views on the problems of modern medicine on her daughter-in-law, so Donna had to listen to the nonsense she could talk about for hours. Only once did Donna try to argue with Helen. This happened soon after their wedding with Patrick. Her mother-in-law was sharing her experience of treating varicose veins on her legs. She had diagnosed herself with this disease based on symptoms, but her methods of diagnosis and treatment horrified her daughter-in-law. Helen, this is complete nonsense. Such radical methods can kill a person. Don't you dare try them on yourself. Her mother-in-law looked down on Donna and, not mincing words, scolded her. If you had a medical degree, I would listen to you. But who is a nurse? Just a girl on errands. Whatever the doctor orders, she does. I am sure that in 10 years this useless position will be eliminated." Donna was very offended by her mother-in-law's attitude towards her profession. "You are deeply mistaken, Helen. The duties of the middle medical staff have their specifics and a wide range of responsibilities." Her mother-in-law shut her up again. "You defend your useless position so passionately because you are an underachiever. By the way, I am also surprised how the granddaughter of a professor could choose the profession of a nurse and be content with it. Wasn't it difficult to become a doctor? What prevented you? Or is there not enough brain power?" In approximately this spirit, Helen constantly spoke to her daughter-in-law. She could tell Donna to her face, for example, that she wanted to see a different, more educated woman next to her son. "Donna, if it weren't for your pedigree and the apartment you inherited from your grandfather, I wouldn't have allowed Patrick to marry you." Once, the daughter-in-law could not stand it and also asked an unpleasant question bluntly. "I wonder what makes your dear Patrick better than me?" How indignant her mother-in-law was then! Her face first turned pale, then flushed crimson, and her eyes flashed with anger. "You still have the audacity to compare yourself to my son! At least Patrick finished university and works in a managerial position, not carrying after the bedridden patients. And your job is to give enemas and clean up after others, and count them pills." Donna did not want to tell her mother-in-law about the subtleties of her work, since Helen never listened to her daughter-in-law. Knowing his mother's character, Patrick generally tried not to provoke her, and in response to his wife's requests to protect her, he evasively replied, "Donna, please don't involve me in your quarrels. The only advice I can give you is not to anger my mother. You are younger than her. You can give in." For the sake of preserving the family, Donna silently endured her mother-in-law's antics. True, over the years, Helen had come to terms with her son's choice, but periodically, so to speak, in the mood, she bothered her daughter-in-law with her visits. Deep down, Donna felt sorry for her eccentric relative, for Helen was widowed early and devoted her entire life to her only son, and now she lived alone on the other side of the city, visiting them so often to avoid dying of boredom. While Donna set the table, her guest chattered self-absorbedly. "Donna, I didn't just come to see you. I want to ask for advice." With a coquettish glance, the mother-in-law paused dramatically before continuing with a blissful smile. "Donna, I've decided to add some variety to my life and came to seek your advice." Another pause followed, accentuated by a pleading look and an expressive sigh. Donna politely responded, "Of course, I'd be happy to help you with more than just advice." Her mother-in-law modestly lowered her eyes. "I don't even know where to begin. I wouldn't want you to think your mother-in-law has finally lost her mind." At that moment, Donna became slightly alarmed, but she said as gently as possible, "Helen, how could I think such a thing? You are a wise woman, deserving of admiration." The blatant flattery worked on the mother-in-law. Her eyes sparkled with mischief, and her brightly painted lips curved into a smile. "Oh, Donna, thank you for your kind words. I've been beside myself since yesterday." Along with her chair, Helen moved closer to her daughter-in-law, forgetting about the cooling tea in the beautiful cup. "You see, Donna, the neighbour from the second entrance recently joined a theatre studio. She says many elderly people attend this club, so I decided to try my luck too. Yesterday, I auditioned." Donna nervously giggled. "Auditioned?" Helen grew annoyed. Why do you keep questioning me? And I don't understand your laughter. Maybe there's a great actress inside me, and I didn't discover my talent in time." Helen rose from her chair, gazing intently out the window, and began to declaim. "Why is this world so unfair? Why am I shivering in a booth while Lucy sleeps by the fireplace on a silk cushion? The master feeds her meat, and I get the bones." It came out very pompous and funny. Donna hiccuped a few times and then burst into laughter. The mother-in-law stared wildly, and the daughter-in-law couldn't calm down for several minutes. When the fit of laughter subsided, Donna managed to say, "Helen, I'm sorry. It was very expressive, truly, but I didn't understand why you were shivering in a booth." This question stumped the older woman. She blinked in confusion for half a minute and then pouted in offence. "You are so dense, Donna. I just read an excerpt from the monologue of the abandoned dog. This is the role I was given in the studio. The premiere of the performance will take place before the new year, but I don't understand why you're laughing." Donna took a deep breath to suppress another fit of laughter. "For heaven's sake, forgive me, Helen, but I can't imagine you in the role of a dog. You would be better suited for the role of a harsh mistress." Helen took this as a compliment. She sighed heavily again. "I joined the studio too late. All the good roles have already been taken. I got the part of Daisy, and my friend will play Lucy. But I don't know how the audience will react to her character, since Cara weighs about 100 pounds. I think that's too much for a lapdog." The regret in Helen's voice was so sincere that Donna felt ashamed of her laughter. She even decided to encourage her mother-in-law by expressing her opinion on the role distribution. "I think the role of Daisy is much more interesting. It's more dramatic and requires skill from the performer." A happy smile lit up the mother-in-law's face again. "I thought so too, Donna. Just don't tell Patrick anything yet. I'll invite him to the premiere later. I want to surprise my son." Donna had a vivid imagination. She pictured Patrick's face when he saw his mother on stage as a stray dog named Daisy. The image was epic. After sharing the main news of the day, Helen moved on to the next part of her agenda. "Donna, we've been chatting for quite a while. I've gotten hungry. I hope you have something to snack on." The daughter-in-law had to indulge her capricious mother-in-law for another hour. She was almost exhausted when the guest finally said the long-awaited words, "Oh, I've stayed too long. It's time for me to go home. I have rehearsals in the evening, and I haven't learned my monologue yet." After seeing Helen out, Donna collapsed onto the bed. The last conscious thought before she fell asleep was, "My mother-in-law is an actress capable of any role. After all, she is always pretending to be someone. So the theatre studio is just what she needs. Maybe she'll visit us less often." Unfortunately, Donna did not get a good night's sleep. After the conversation with her mother-in-law, she dreamed of giant dogs with human faces, and in the end she was awakened by her son returning from school. "Mum, did you have a tough shift?" he asked. "Why do you think that?" Donna peeked out from under the blanket. Paul snorted. "You were shouting something incomprehensible, and then started talking about dogs." Her son looked at her. "Are you and Dad planning to get a dog? I'm not against it." Donna shook her head vigorously. "No, God forbid. I can't keep up with cleaning after you two, and if we add an animal to the mix, it will be complete chaos." Her head was pounding, and she felt clumsy. She had to take a pill to ease her condition. It was only at night, when Patrick was snoring softly beside her, that Donna remembered the strange letter. She decided not to wake her husband to find out who the author of the message was and why this Amber was asking him for help. "I'll find out everything tomorrow," she thought reassuringly before falling asleep. Donna was awakened by a crash in the kitchen, followed by the sound of breaking glass. She jumped out of bed and rushed into the kitchen, intending to vent her anger on the culprits of the morning disaster. But seeing her son's frightened look, she decided not to give in to her emotions and calmly asked, "What's going on here?" "Mum, I swear I didn't do it on purpose. The cup just slipped out of my hands and fell," said her son, and rushed to broom the floor. "Mum, I didn't mean to. I accidentally knocked over the cup when I was getting mine. I'll clean it up right away." But Donna stopped him. "You'll be late for school. I'll clean it up. Has Dad been gone long?" Her son called out from the hallway. "He left really early today. He didn't even go for his run. I asked him why he was leaving so early, and he asked me not to stick my nose in adult business." A second later the door slammed, and Donna was left alone with her thoughts. Her husband's strange behaviour puzzled her. Patrick could only skip his traditional run for 2 reasons: illness or a natural disaster. Since calm reigned outside and the autumn sun was generously shining, Donna thought her husband might be having health issues, but she quickly dismissed the idea. Patrick valued his health greatly and would raise an alarm at the slightest cough. Clearly, some other reason had compelled him to drastically change his routine. Could it be related to that letter? Donna retrieved the message from the unknown Amber from the drawer and read it again. Then she looked at the clock. "If I hurry, I can make it there and back in a day." Donna reached the village without any incidents, the journey taking just over an hour. It impressed her not only with its size but also with its cleanliness. The sidewalks in the centre were paved with tiles, and almost every house boasted flower beds. This colourful palette made the autumn seem less gloomy. Donna said inspiredly, "This place is quite nice." A woman, around 40, passing by, casually remarked, "Of course, it's beautiful here, better than in some cities." Donna rushed after the stranger. "Please wait a moment. You probably know everyone here. Could you tell me where the Raskins live? I'm looking for Amber." The woman thought for a moment. "Amber, the librarian's daughter?" Donna intuitively nodded, and the stranger briefly explained. "That's on Central Street. Go to the very end and turn left into the alley. The librarian's house is the 3rd from the corner. Got it?" Donna nodded in agreement and headed in the indicated direction. But the villager didn't stop there and began to share all the news about Amber's family. "Patricia, her mother, is such an unhappy woman. She studied in town, but didn't finish because she married a townie. But then they separated. She has worked honestly here for many years, and now grief has come to her house, poor woman. She is still so young, but she is already fading away before her eyes." The librarian's house stood out starkly from the neighbouring homes. The paint on the wooden structure had long since peeled off, and the surrounding area was equally neglected, clearly in need of a caring hand. Donna thought, "Poor woman, she must be still living without a husband." She stopped at the lopsided gate and called out, "Can I come in?" There was no response, so Donna cautiously entered the yard. To avoid being suspected of ill intent, she called out again, "Is anybody home?" The door creaked open, and a thin woman in a faded housecoat appeared on the porch, looking at the visitor with a pleading gaze. "Who are you?" Donna blurted out the first thing that came to mind. "I'm from the school, the new teacher of your Amber. I'd like to see your daughter." Honoma gave her a distrustful look. "Amber hasn't returned from her classes yet. It would have been easier for you to find her at school than to walk across the whole village. What is this about? As far as I know, no one has complained about Amber. Or has she done something wrong?" It was clear that the woman was worried. Donna tried to reassure her. "Your Amber is a wonderful girl, and I came to see you for an entirely different reason. Amber told me about your trouble, so I came." Patricia sighed. "Come inside. There's no need to talk on the doorstep, and there are ears everywhere. I don't like it when people gossip about me." Donna followed the homeowner inside. Despite the modest furnishings, the house was impeccably clean. Patricia gestured to a chair. "Please, have a seat. I'm listening." Donna sat down and repeated firmly, "Patricia, I want to help you." The homeowner smirked. "I'm curious. How can you help me?" Donna felt a sudden jolt, as if struck by an electric shock. This woman, likely her peer, exuded an aura of death. Over her many years working in the hospital, Donna had encountered this phenomenon numerous times. She could unerringly sense when a patient was nearing the end. Patricia's breath of death was still faint but unmistakable. Donna spoke softly yet confidently. "Patricia, I will try to help you. I have many acquaintances in medical circles. In the coming days, I will arrange for you to be consulted by the best specialists." A smile of despair appeared on the homeowner's face again. "Thank you for your kindness, but I doubt anyone can help me now. A few months ago there was a chance, but there was no money for treatment, and I still don't have it." Donna continued to question the unfortunate woman. "And what about relatives? Is there no one who can help you?" Patricia sat down on the chair next to her guest, her gaze becoming thoughtful. "Why not?" she said. "I do have relatives, an uncle, but he doesn't want to know me." Holding her breath, Donna asked the next question. "And your husband?" Patricia looked at her strangely. "Husband?" she echoed. "Well, I had a husband once, but that was a very long time ago, so long ago that I don't remember his face or voice, but perhaps it's for the best, not to remember someone who once betrayed you." Donna sat in silence. She felt that this unfortunate woman needed to talk. Patricia remained silent for a few minutes, her distant gaze indicating that her thoughts were far away. Finally, very softly, the hostess said, "I see you are ready to hear my confession. Very well, I will tell you everything and try not to bore you with unnecessary details. I am an orphan. My parents died in a fire when I was very young. The farm caught fire, and they rushed to save the cows. They were both very brave. People shouted for them to save themselves, but they started leading the cows out. They managed to save almost all the animals when one of the workers shouted, 'Henry, the calves are still inside.' My father rushed to save the calves, and at that moment the roof collapsed. My mother screamed and ran after him. She wanted to pull him out, but there was another collapse of the burning roof." Patricia paused, her eyes filled with distant memories. Donna waited patiently for her to continue. "I don't remember any of this. I'm relying on the stories of my Uncle Vince, my father's brother. He took me in, although his wife was against it. Uncle Vince had 3 sons of his own, and I was an unwanted addition. In short, I was mistreated, not only by my aunt but also by my cousins. So I dreamed of escaping the house where I hated everyone, and I managed to do so right after school. I enrolled in a pedagogical college and soon met Patrick." At the mention of her husband's name, Donna shuddered. Patricia noticed her reaction. "Are you cold?" she asked sympathetically. "Our house is chilly, and we have to save firewood." Donna reassured her. "No, I'm not cold. Please, continue." Patricia nodded and continued her story in the same measured tone. "So, with Patrick everything was fine, until his mother found out about our relationship. She ambushed me once near my college, insulted me, and threatened to make me expelled. Of course, I tearfully told Patrick, and he suggested we get married secretly from his mother. Back then, it seemed romantic to both of us. We managed to keep our relationship a secret for 6 months. We rented a tiny apartment, and there we enjoyed our hard-won happiness. But Patrick soon grew tired of such romance. He started visiting less and less, and I was already in my 9th month of pregnancy. The landlady demanded payment for 3 months, and I had no money. So I gathered my courage and went to my mother-in-law's apartment. When Patrick saw me, he trembled like an aspen leaf and couldn't speak. His mother started pushing me out the door, shouting, "Get out!" She said Patrick had found a decent girl, the granddaughter of a professor, and their wedding was coming up. She said that she wouldn't let me ruin her son's life. So I told her that polygamy is illegal and showed her papers about our marriage. She was shocked. Patrick was outraged by my actions. He started shouting that he had filed for divorce. I didn't wait for them to attack me with their fists and quietly left. I hoped my uncle would help, but he didn't even let me in, telling me to go to the village, to my parents' house. So I went. Donna was very anxious. "And then what happened? How did you survive alone with a child? Why didn't you sue your ex-husband for child support?" Patricia stood up, her voice different now. "As you can see, I didn't die," she said, "and I didn't demand child support because I didn't want that scoundrel involved in my daughter's life. I survived without his filthy money and raised my daughter. Amber will be 15 soon, and if it weren't for my sudden illness—" Donna grabbed Patricia's hands. "I will definitely help you, and you shouldn't lose hope." The heavy door slammed, and a girl in a school uniform entered the room. Patricia bustled again. "And here is Amber. Amber, your new teacher has come." The girl scanned the guest with a hostile look. "A new teacher? Mum, you're mistaken. We don't have any new teachers." Patricia looked frightened at the guest. "Who are you? Why did you come here?" Amber also stared at Donna with dislike. Donna understood that revealing the whole truth in such a delicate situation was impossible. To ease the tension, she smiled and replied, "You can consider me a good fairy or a guest from the future, whichever you prefer, but I came here to help." Amber looked at her for a long time and then asked in a voice hoarse with emotion, "Is it true that you want to help my mum? You're not lying?" Donna felt her eyes welling up with tears. "Lying to sick people is a crime. I will definitely help your mum." Still looking into her eyes, the girl whispered, "I wrote to someone about our trouble. Did you read that letter?" "Yes, I read your letter and came right away." Amber started crying. The tears of this girl spoke more than any loud promises. Donna silently vowed to do everything possible for these 2 women. After all, unknowingly, she had stolen their happiness and enjoyed it for almost 15 years. Donna was deeply moved by Patricia's story. On her way home, she thought, "How similar our fates are. I also lost my mother at a young age, and then my father died in an accident. But I was luckier because my grandparents raised me." It surprised Donna that Patrick had never told her he had been married before. The woman felt uncomfortable that only now, after so many years, she'd learnt this fact from her husband's biography. But she didn't know what to do, given the newly discovered circumstances. In this state of uncertainty, she returned home. Patrick and Paul were already there. Upon her arrival, her husband indifferently asked, "Where have you been? We were starting to worry, and were about to file a missing persons report." To this, Donna replied, "Today is my day off, and I decided to get some fresh air." Patrick meaningfully drawled, "Ah, I see. Our mum went shopping?" Donna said nothing and went to the bedroom. She changed clothes and was about to go to the kitchen but stopped. Trying not to make noise, she pulled out a drawer from the stylish dresser and took out an antique box inlaid with colourful stones. This heirloom had been passed down to her from her grandmother, and her grandfather had saved a bit from his pension and salary every month. The man had lectured at the university almost until his death, so he left his granddaughter a considerable sum. Once Donna laughed at him, saying, "Grandpa, serious people keep their savings in the bank." But he had gotten angry. "Maybe I'm not serious in your eyes, but I don't trust banks." Donna had laughed. "What if someone steals your books?" The man had confidently said, "If you keep your mouth shut, no one will steal it, and the money will always be at hand when needed." She and Patrick had also saved a bit in this box at first, but later they only took from it. Donna wanted to count the money, but she heard her husband's demanding voice. "Donna, where are you stuck? Your men are dying of hunger." The woman rushed to the open drawer, but after thinking, decided to change the hiding place and put the box in the far corner of the wardrobe. "This will be safer," she whispered, and went to fulfill her household duties. This time, the night shift was relatively calm. Taking the opportunity, Donna asked the on-duty doctor to spare her a few minutes. The young doctor agreed. "Donna, I am ready to talk to you, even until the end of the shift." Encouraged by his optimism, Donna got straight to the point. "Dr. Keating, my relative is seriously ill, but she has a complicated family situation, so the treatment is not going as well as we would like. Could you look at her medical record? This is from her consultation at the regional hospital a couple of months ago." When Dr. Keating carefully read Patricia's medical record, Donna impatiently asked, "What do you think?" The doctor only sighed. "Unfortunately, I can't say anything reassuring. We need to examine your relative further, and only then can we talk about treatment prospects. Donna, why did this woman let it go? With such a diagnosis, you can't afford to lose even a day, and here 2 months have been lost." Donna sighed regretfully. "The reason is simple. She had no money." Dr. Keating looked at the nurse in surprise. "And now there is?" "Yes, now there is the necessary amount. The question is whether it makes sense to start treatment." Dr. Keating meaningfully raised his index finger. "Colleague, there is always a point, even in the most hopeless situation, and you know this better than I do. Let's agree on this. You bring your relative, and we need to do it as soon as possible. I will arrange a consultation with the best haematologist. He is a friend of my father and my favourite university professor." For the first time in the last 2 very hectic days, Donna relaxed a bit. Now she had to convince Patricia. "I will go to them today," Donna decided. After the night shift, she hurried home, trying not to think about her fatigue. She changed clothes and then took out the precious box, removing almost all its contents. After that, she dialed Patricia's number. "I will be there soon. Prepare everything necessary for the hospital. Today after lunch, an excellent doctor will see you." Patricia tried to object, but Donna cut her off. "Patricia, let's not waste time on empty talk. Besides, your daughter can stay with me while you're at the hospital. No, my husband will not mind. You don't need to worry about that." "Thank you, Donna. You really are like a fairy from a tale." There were sobs heard from Patricia on the phone. Dr. Keating kept his promise and was waiting for them at the entrance to the clinic when the famous haematologist worked. "First, a full diagnosis, and only then will we evaluate our patient's chances," he said, and led the women inside. Patricia looked around fearfully. Seizing a convenient moment, she whispered to Donna, "Maybe it's all for nothing. Maybe we shouldn't spend the money. Such a large amount. I won't be able to pay you back all at once." Donna hugged the unfortunate woman and felt her trembling. "Patricia, right now, your life is the most important thing. And money? It comes and goes. Honestly, I don't mind spending it on a good cause." "And your husband won't scold you?" "No, he won't," Donna confidently replied. Soon, Patricia was called by the nurse from the diagnostic room, and Donna stayed waiting in the corridor. Only in the evening did they get to the consultation with the professor. The medical luminary kept the patient in his office for about an hour and then invited Dr. Keating. Waiting for the doctor's verdict, Patricia trembled with excitement and Donna was exhausted from fatigue and lack of sleep. Finally, Dr. Keating came out of the office. "Professor, will personally take care of your relative, which means she has a chance. Not for a full recovery, but she will be able to enjoy life for another 5 or even 10 years. Donna returned home, tired but almost happy. She thanked fate for allowing her to do another good deed. Especially since she had helped not a stranger, in a way. Donna already imagined how she would soak in the bath and then fall into a sweet sleep. But when she opened the door to her apartment, she realized that besides her husband and son, there was someone else present. This fact was confirmed by a familiar pair of shoes in the hallway and voices coming from the kitchen. Donna listened intently. "Again, the devil has brought her here. I'm ready for anything, but I can't stand listening to her empty chatter." At this moment, Patrick peeked out from the kitchen. "And here comes our Donna. Lately you've been staying out too late, and it's making me suspicious." Patrick was in a positive mood, but Donna didn't feel like joking. She replied curtly, "Constant suspicion is a bad sign, Patrick. I had to arrange hospital care for an acquaintance, so I was a bit late." Patrick planted a dutiful kiss on his wife's cheek. "You're like Mother Teresa, always helping everyone and taking care of everyone. And here we are, waiting for you, and also counting on your help." Donna followed her husband into the kitchen and Patrick, with a satisfied smile, noted, "We did a little housekeeping in the kitchen today with Paul. Check out our culinary skills, dear Mrs. Raskin. The dish is simple but very hearty." The pasta and cheese did indeed look very appetizing. Donna's salivary glands went into overdrive and she greedily dug into the food. Helen couldn't resist the opportunity to mock Donna. "At least chew your food. You know, swallowing like that can lead to an ulcer. You're a medic yourself." Patrick irritably remarked, "Mum, you could have kept quiet, but you just had to put in your 2 cents. He looked pointedly at his mother, and she demonstratively covered her mouth with her hand. "That's it, I'm quiet. Not another word." After satisfying her hunger, Donna looked at her husband and said, "Now we can talk business." Helen opened her mouth, but Patrick gave her a stern look. He sat down next to Donna and put his arm around her waist. "Donna, here's the thing. You know that elderly people always have health issues." Donna nodded. "I know, Patrick. I deal with it every day at work. So let's cut to the chase." Patrick stood up. "All right, I'll be direct. Mum's health is weak. She needs clean air. In the big city, that's a problem, which leads to apathy and insomnia." Donna ironically remarked, "Patrick, I asked you to cut to the chase. How can I help your mum and my dear mother-in-law?" The man leaned against the table, cornering Donna. "Mum has long dreamed of living in the countryside, but buying a dacha requires a substantial amount of money, which Mum doesn't have." Donna laughed. Patrick, what does that have to do with me?" Irritation was bubbling out of the man, but he restrained himself, understanding that only gentleness would achieve his goal. So he tried to hug his wife again. "Donna, you have that magical box with lots of money. It's just sitting there anyway. And my mum could buy a nice little house with it, and her savings, where we could go every weekend. We've already found a suitable option with Mum. Mum is short half, and we just have that much money in our box. By the way, tomorrow we have a meeting with the seller." "So, you and your mum have already decided everything without me?" Donna freed herself from her husband's embrace and turned to her mother-in-law. "Helen, what about the theatre and your role?" Her mother-in-law beamed with a happy smile. "Donna, one doesn't interfere with the other. It's a 20-minute bus ride from the Datcher settlement to the city centre. We have rehearsals 3 times a week, and besides, I don't want to live in the Datcher permanently. I'll spend a few days in the city and then go to the Datcher. It will be a change of scenery." Donna agreed with a smile. "Yes, you've thought it all out well." Patrick was turning red and pale, a sign that he was losing patience. "Donna, can we stop the interrogation? Where is the box? I looked for it, but it's not in its usual place. You hid it and didn't tell me." "And why should I tell you? It's my money. My granddad gave them to me," the woman sarcastically asked. Then she disappeared behind the bedroom door and returned a minute later with the box in her hands. "Here, Patrick." The man lifted the lid of the pretty casket and was stunned. "There's almost nothing in here. Donna, where did you put the money?" By this time, Donna was already tired of this circus and replied rather rudely, "It's my money, Patrick, and I spent it on what I considered more necessary than buying a Datcher for your precious mum." Helen jumped up like she had been stung. "Patrick, I don't know how you put up with this. If I were you, I would have kicked this scoundrel out long ago. If she were at least a decent woman. But she's just a nurse." Donna realised that her time had finally come. Trying to keep within the bounds of decency, she said, "Helen, this is my apartment, which I had before our marriage, and you won't be able to kick me out like you once did to Patricia, your son's first wife. This time your trick won't work, and you'll have to buy the Datcher with your own money." Her mother-in-law began to stutter in indignation. We will go to court to divide the property." "Patrick, how can you stand there calmly when your mother is being humiliated?" Patrick gave his wife a scorching look. "We will talk more, Donna. I'll just see my mum out first." But Donna did not wait for her husband to return. She threw his pillow on the couch in the living room and locked herself in the bedroom. Through her sleep, she heard Patrick banging on the door, but she did not respond to his demands to open it. In the morning, she found her husband in the kitchen. Patrick was in a bad mood. He looked at his wife. "Donna, this can't go on." "You're right, Patrick. After everything I've found out, I can't live with you any more." The man exploded. "What? You want a divorce? I'll make your life hell. You're nobody, a worthless, uneducated creature. If I hadn't married you, you would have ended up with some plumber or truck driver." At this moment, their son Paul interrupted his father's bright monologue. "Dad, you would definitely suit Napoleon's hat. He also thought he was exceptional." "You're in on this too. Fine, you'll both dance to my tune." The apartment door slammed loudly, and mother and son jumped at the sound. That same evening, Patrick took his things. He expected his wife and son to cry and beg him to stay, but Paul only came out of his room after his father had left. He hugged his mother and said confidently, "Mum, don't be upset. Dad will come to his senses and return. Besides, is it true that I have a sort of half-sister?" Donna looked at her son in surprise. "And how do you know?" The boy smiled. "Mum, it's the 21st century. Amber and I connected on social media and chatted a bit. She's all right, a sensible girl. It's just a shame that her mum is so sick. By the way, we could all go visit her together." Donna looked tenderly at her son. "You're so grown up and kind." Paul smiled. "I take after you, Mum. I've already decided that after school, I'll go to medical school." Patrick reminded them of his existence a month after his rash departure. He called his wife in advance. "Donna, can I come over? We need to talk." She threw a short, "All right." At the appointed time, Patrick arrived, but did not open the door with his key. Instead, he rang the bell. The door was opened by Amber. "Who are you looking for?" The man was taken aback, seeing an unfamiliar girl in the apartment he had recently considered his own. He challengingly asked, "And who are you? Paul's girlfriend?" The girl smirked. "No, I'm his half-sister. Hi, Dad." Patrick rushed down the stairs, skipping steps. He was badly shaken by the encounter with his past in the form of the daughter he had rejected. The man also remembered the letter in which Amber begged him for help. Fate does not forgive such mistakes, and Patrick paid for his sin. He married 2 more times, but never found happiness. Donna married her colleague a year after the divorce. Patricia's life also improved. After a long treatment, she entered a stage of stable remission. She even got married, but she never forgot whom she should thank for her continued life.